welcome back to our channel. Today we're chatting all about eating for balanced hormones. So these are kind of some simple tweaks that you can make to your diet to really balance out those female hormones we're talking about today, really.
Yeah, so if you watched our last video, we were talking about some of the common signs that your hormones may be out of balance. And today's video, we're really diving into some of the things you can do about it naturally. Now, we want to note before we start this video that if you do have significant hormonal issues or they're not clearing up with diet and lifestyle changes, that you should definitely go and see somebody, work with somebody who can look at your hormones, do the appropriate testing and things.
It's all very individual.
It's very individual, and it's really, really important because our hormones affect so much of our health and well-being as women especially. But having said that, we're going to jump into 4 really great tips for balancing your hormones with your diet. So let's get started.
So our first tip is to eat plenty of healthy fats. And when we're talking about healthy fats, we're talking about our monounsaturated, our saturated, and some people will find that a bit worrying because we've always been taught to steer clear of our saturated fats. And we're also including cholesterol in there, so another one that some people are quite afraid of. But the truth is that your hormones, in particular your female steroid hormones, are actually synthesized from cholesterol, and it's particularly worrying, I guess, as well because low fat has been the thing for so long, and it can really cause our hormones to become out of balance.
Yeah, so if we don't give our body the things to make our hormones, they can't ever possibly be balanced, right?
Yeah.
So we need to be eating lots of good quality fats. So avocados is one of our favorites, as well as cold water fatty fish is also really high in anti-inflammatory omega-3s. So things like salmon, mackerel, sardines are all really, really excellent sources of fat. And then we've got other things like olives,
eggs and egg yolks.
Eggs and egg yolks are really great. And then of course all of our healthy fats like cooking fats and things. So coconut oil is a favourite of ours, and for dressing salads we love to use an extra virgin olive oil. So make sure that you're getting plenty of fats. Don't be afraid of fats, especially if you are trying to lose weight and things like that. It's easy to get paranoid about fats, but actually you need to include them in your diet. They're great for weight loss and they're great for balancing our hormones.
Fat does not make you fat.
No. So tip number 2 to eat for balanced hormones is that we want to really regulate blood sugar. So when you have uneven blood sugar levels, and if you have dysregulated insulin in particular, it can really drive up those androgen or male hormones. So we often see this in PCOS, but if you suffer from things like acne and cystic acne, can be a sign that you have an imbalance in those androgen hormones. So
particularly when you get a lot of acne like around your jawline and around your mouth, that's kind of where we have a lot of those androgen receptors, so where they're binding and causing that acne. So yeah, definitely something to keep in mind if you think that that could be an underlying factor.
So we also know, aside from the androgen argument, you could call it, we also know that having low blood sugar levels really spikes our cortisol, which in a woman's hormonal system, having too much stress, too much cortisol really puts things out of balance. It can take the production of female hormones and other hormones and funnel them into stress hormones, basically. So we definitely want to steer clear from stress, and having uneven blood sugar levels is stressful on our body. So we want to be eating regularly, and we want to eat obviously a low refined sugar diet. So we don't want to be spiking our blood sugar with cakes and biscuits and all these kinds of things.
Yeah.
We want to go for that slow burning energy and eating regularly and eating when you're hungry.
Yeah, and it's not to say that you can't eat carbohydrates at all. Sometimes people look at even like a paleo diet as like a very, very low / no carbohydrate diet, and that's not really the case. We would actually say that for women's hormones you do need a little bit of carbs.
Yeah, so it's all about just maintaining that regular nice energy levels and regular blood sugar.
So number 3 is to eat plenty of dietary fiber. So we're talking around 30 grams a day. And in particular, you want to be getting your fiber from cruciferous vegetables. So things like broccoli, kale, Brussels sprouts, onion, garlic.
Cabbage.
Yeah.
So all sort of sulfurous veggies.
Yeah. So we know that the sulfurous veggies in particular are really high in a compound called indole-3-carbinol. And in particular, we know that indole-3-carbinol really helps our liver with processing estrogen and estrogen metabolites. So helping us basically to break it down and then excrete it.
And the other benefit of getting plenty of fiber into your diet is it's actually going to help you to stay regular and excrete those hormones from the body. So it's kind of one thing to clear it through our liver, but it's another to actually allow our body to
get rid of it. So we know that estrogen in particular, it recycles. So if you have a lot of stagnation and you're not passing a bowel movement every day, that can go back into your circulation. So it's recirculated and it's still active. So we want to be getting rid of it from the body.
So really, it's like when you talk about detoxification of anything in the body, you really need to make sure that you're having regular bowel movements. And having fibre is a really big part of that. So make sure to get your fibre. And you don't need Metamucil and all these sorts of things. Like, you can just eat tons of veggies.
Yeah.
So our fourth and final tip to eat for balanced hormones is actually something to avoid rather than to include in the diet, but it is to avoid plastics. So we cannot stress enough how important it is to avoid plastics. These are things like heating up food in plastic containers is a really big no-no, and then we've got things like coffee cups, you know, those takeaway coffee cups that are lined in plastic. So the reason why we want to avoid these is that they are full of BPA and phthalates, which are known to disrupt our hormones. So they're called xenoestrogens, and these sort of fake estrogens enter into our body through all these plastics and plastic-lined containers and so forth. So they can really disrupt our hormones.
Yeah, so they have the ability to bind to those receptors, right? Yeah.
And mimic the effects of estrogen, which we definitely do not want to have too high estrogen levels as women. It can have some effects down the track. So yeah, definitely make it a rule to switch to glass wherever you can. Get a keep cup if you go to the coffee shop and you get takeaway coffee.
And don't microwave in plastic. Go and get yourself like a good quality glass container that you can, if you are microwaving.
Because that heat element is what really increases the permeation of your food with the BPA and phthalates.
And no plastic water bottles.
No plastic water bottles.
There's so many.
Also, be careful handling receipts and things as well. The paper that they're printed on is also containing BPA in quite a high amount, and they've done studies showing how much is absorbed into your bloodstream just from handling receipts. So
it's made like a lot worse if you're wearing hand cream.
Yeah, so that was an interesting point. We're getting off track, but some of the hand creams, like conventional hand creams that contain propylene glycol, it really assists with the absorption of that product into the skin, but when we go and put those hand creams on and then touch things like receipts, it actually helps these BPA and phthalates get into our bloodstream more quickly. So yeah.
So as much as possible, I'm like, do not give me the receipt. I don't want to handle it.
James always hands me the receipt and I'm like,
with your nails?
What are you giving it to me for? Don't give me the receipt. Anyway.
So on track, but
definitely avoid plastics. Okay guys, so those were our 4 top tips for eating for balanced hormones. So just to recap really quick, we had number 1 was eating plenty of healthy fats. Tip number 2, so keeping your blood sugar really nice and regular. Number 3, we had eat plenty of fibre, so in particular those cruciferous veggies. And then our last tip was to avoid plastics, particularly those that are heated up with your food.
So that really wraps up this video. We hope that you guys are enjoying all these videos so far on hormone health. And if you enjoyed this one, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already subscribed. And leave us a comment if this video inspired you to eat differently or to adopt some different eating habits. And we will talk to you guys in our next video. Bye guys.